G'day, I'm Josh Giumelli and we're back in the workshop for another workshop tip thanks to Farming Ahead magazine and Hare & Forbes Machinery Warehouse. Now today we're talking threaded rod. And well, if you're using threaded rod, generally you need to cut it. It's pretty handy. If you want a long bolt or a stud, you just cut it to whatever length you need. Now, it's pretty hard to do without actually making a mess of the threads. To start with, you need to hold it somehow. So one option, a couple of these aluminium soft jaws for the vise. So that'll allow you to clamp the threaded rod in the vise nice and firm without actually damaging the threads. Look, if you haven't got any soft jaws, there's another thing you can use, and that's just a simple lock nut. You can see I've already screwed a couple of nuts down onto the threaded rod, so let's just tighten those against each other with a couple of spanners. You know, this is actually also a really good method if you've made a stud and you need to then screw that into something like an engine block, and you need a way of gripping it, a couple of lock nuts, and turn the one that's up at the top. Anyway, we can just put those in the vise as shown, and that'll mean we don't damage the thread. Now, another little trick, I have a spare nut. There it is. Let's just, we'll screw that on too, and it'll become apparent what this is for in a second. Okay, so we're going to cut it there. Get the old safety gear on. Now, hacksaw is pretty good for this job, but also angle grinder and thin cutting disc. That's the go. Nice and quick, doesn't make too much of a mess. Okay, that's our stud that we've just cut. And the reason for screwing that nut on is because now, if we unscrew that, that'll actually dress the thread on the end. Just reshapes it slightly and means that then you can screw another nut on, piece of cake. However, that's still probably not really good enough in a sense. You see the end of this is quite sharp. There's a pretty nasty burr there, so we need to clean that up. And there are two ways of doing that. The first way is just using the grinder. So grinder is one way to clean the end of that up. There is another way. We really do have to get rid of that sharp end because that's just asking to cut your fingers open. This little device here, it's called a chamfering tool, and really it's just like a large pencil sharpener for steel. Just goes in your drill, and you run this at reasonably sort of slow, medium speed. Obviously put this in the bench vise. And this will just clean that burr up and create a nice chamfered end for our stud. We'll wind our nut off. And we're done.